going on, people? This is another great episode of the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And do we have a great show for you today? Alright? Let's first say we want to welcome you to the Film Review because we have a jam-packed show. We have our next review on Blaxploitation Horror, which is Rudy Ray Moore's. It's Rudy Ray Moore's Devil's Son-in-Law. That's right, right? But first, we're gonna have an interview with a Hollywood director. He goes by the name Nick Leisure, and he has a brand new film debuting. And we have him here with us today. The film is called A Clear Shot, and it stars Mario Van Peebles, Glenn Plummer, and Mario Van Peebles' son, Mandela Van Peebles, and a multicultural cast telling this story. And we're going to get into that in 1 second. Let me bring the phone lines up real quick. I believe that we have Nick on the phone. Good day, Nick. Is that you?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? Could you turn down anything that you're listening to listen to it, because we want to have a clear signal for the playback, and then once the playback instantly goes up and you'll be able to listen to it and actually watch it. But we got to have everything turned down. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, good to hear. We're going to do some clearing the table and sweeping the floor real quick because we have sponsors. So stay on the line for a second and we're going to go through this. So first of all, we want to say what's going on to Deshawn Snow. She has a line of books called Little Shiny, and we would like to thank her for being a sponsor of the Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And this is the book right here. Let me bring it up closer to the screen so that you can see it. It's actually 3 books, but we're showing you one, but you can order it right on littleshiny.com. That's littleshiny.com. All right, and let's keep moving here as we flip, of course. And then our next sponsor is, as I bring it up, Naturally Fly Boutique, specializing in original handmade jewelry. Naturally Fly Boutique. You can find them on Crazy D Film Dude on my Instagram page, and you can click right over to their link and you can order right there. They make customized jewelry, and this is an example right here on my lovely wife's wrist, right? And you can see it, and there's the ad back there and all that as we keep going here. Now, up next, we have the Film Review Music Review Show, Episode 6. It's the Halloween edition. October. Horror for the Not Real MC. I put this together featuring real MCs. See, MCing is being in hip hop, or being an MC is not just rapping, but it's actually having records to sell, touring, and actually making it happen, videos, all that. And these MCs personify that. And it is October, Horror for the Not Real MC. And that debuts tomorrow, Monday, right? For the whole October. And what's so great about it is we have Blaxploitation horror movie clips cutting in between the music, and you're gonna love it. You're gonna be able to see them and then put those Blaxploitation horror films into your Halloween viewing this season, and you truly will be enjoying yourself this Halloween. Now, without further ado, you've seen the ad up, and here we are. Let me bring the ad up here, and we have Nick Leisure, Hollywood director. He has a film. He has multiple films, and we're going to go through all of that. But he has this film that's debuting on October 5th, the third leg, red carpet, interviews, all of that. TCL, Chinese Theater, LA, Hollywood.
October 5th.
That's right, October 5th, and it is called A Clear Shot. So Nick, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. All right, so we're getting ready to get started here. We had to do some cleaning real quick, house cleaning, and now we're ready. So we have your picture up so people can see who you are and who we are speaking with right now. So this is Nick Leisure. He is the creator and the owner of Leisure Films, who is in a collaborative effort to put out original content with Fox Baja Studios located in Mexico. Baja Studios is known for Titanic, Pearl Harbor, as well as the TV franchise Fear of the Walking Dead, right? He has 4 feature films that have been contracted to come out with the Leisure Films Baja Studios collaboration, and we're going to get into all of that. But first of all, before we get into talking about A Clear Shot, let's get some background information on you, Nick. Okay, so you let me see. Let's go back. You grew up in Sacramento, California. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you were on scene at the Good Guys electronics store hostage situation when it happened. You were in high school. Tell the people, before we get into getting into the plot of the film, because this is going to open it up, tell the people what that felt like to see a hostage situation, what it felt like, what it smelled like, what it looked like.
Well, I was in junior high school when this situation went down, and I happened to be a block away at a friend's house, and we saw it live on the news, and we decided to go over there because it was a Big Guys store that we went to frequently. Back then, Big Guys was like the Best Buy today, so we decided to go there and check it out, and it ended up being like a little over 8-hour standoff.
Mm-hmm. And did you stay out there for those whole 8 hours, or whenever you arrived, did you stay until the conclusion of what happened without giving too much away of the plot of the film?
No, we stayed out there for probably a couple hours hanging out, and then after that we just kind of went back, and then we peek at things on the news, because it didn't seem like much was going on after that. When you're a junior high school kid, you try to get bored a lot easier, so you're sitting around watching cops there, but after a couple hours you're like, all right, it's probably going to be the same thing forever. So we didn't know that it was going to end the way that it ended.
Mm-hmm. So this was in 1991. Set the scene of what Sacramento, California was like during that time.
Well, the particular area where this store was at was a very popular area, especially for teenagers in high school kids to hang out, because the Florida Mall was right next to it. So, back then, the only thing we could do was go to the mall. So a lot of kids hung out at that mall back and forth, and This was in South Sacramento area. And this was the biggest hostage situation still in U.S. history till date. So it was pretty shocking.
Okay. Was this what inspired you to start to tell stories, or what made you want to tell the story about a clear shot?
Well, being a filmmaker out of Sacramento, I like to write my scripts and my stories loosely based off of things that I've either went through in my life or stories that I've read about, or things that are true stories. And The Good Guys story, I just over the years always wondered why nobody ever did a movie, like an actual movie. There's been a lot of documentaries and things like that, History Channel stuff, but there was never a feature film based on the largest hostage situation in U.S. history. So when I got to a point in my career where I was able to start making my own decisions on what I really wanted to do on that level of a feature film, I decided to make this as a film. So that's kind of how it came about.
And did this situation cause the popularity of that strip mall and that particular mall that was right next to it? Did it cause it to go down? Did people stop shopping there? Did the business have to close down because of it, or did it close for a second and then reopen?
It closed for a second and it reopened for a while, and I think I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 years later, or something like that, the franchise of the Good Guys actually closed down, or they got bought out in some way, shape, or form. So then that's when the Circuit Cities and the Best Buys and stuff started coming out. So.
And so was that? Do you think that this particular situation put a bad name on the business? Most of the time in the Black community, because I know this film is dealing with Asian community subject matter, but in the Black community, usually when something like that happens, the business has to shut down. Do you believe that this was a stain on the Good Guys electronic store's name that they couldn't shake, and it went on for a while but then it shut down, or was it business as usual?
I don't think it was the reason why they shut down, because the Good Guys back then was a pretty big franchise. I mean, it was, like I said, it's like a Best Buy type of thing. The Good Guys, there were numerous Good Guys stores everywhere around, not just Sacramento, but the impact on that store for that day, I couldn't tell you if that was the actual reason why they shut down, but I highly doubt it since they were open for many years after that.
So, your influence in film, what you were influenced by, were you influenced by the hip hop coming from out of Sacktown, like Lynch Hung, Sibo, X-Rated, or Looney Coleone? Where is your film technique or anything influenced by hip hop?
I started my career in music originally. My mentor was, it still is, multi-platinum record producer in the industry, who wrote all the FWB stuff, Eric Benet, Mariah Carey, worked with a lot of different people. So I started my career in recording studios. And then from about the time I was 17 up until about 21, 22, when I started to get into film and naturally transitioned into music videos and concerts, because I had those relationships with a lot of different artists already. And so, but yeah, I mean, I know like Sibo and Brother Lynch Hung and these guys. I've met them many times over the years and been a supporter of them and stuff as far as local Sacramento people. But I also, done a lot of stuff, music videos for Too Short, Mr. Fab, Corrupt, and all the Babyface and After 7.
And so, for those coming in, we are interviewing Nick Leisure, who is a Hollywood film director straight from out of Sacktown, California. How did your interest in film start? You said you were doing videos, but what was the initiating situation that got you from doing video into doing film?
At first I worked with like Raz B2K. Was on the road with them back before they made their comeback way back then when they were, first time they came around. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing old school concerts with a friend of mine who was working with like Brick, Dash, Confunction, those type of bands. And we did a lot of big concerts at like Oakland Civic Center in San Francisco, and just big concerts that were 20,000 people there and stuff. And I transitioned that into doing I did a concert called the High Beat Movement with all the Bay Area guys, D4 and all the San Quinn, all the Bay Area artists and stuff like that. And then I ran around and worked with all kinds of different artists after that. I went into music videos and commercials, and eventually got me into like ABC as a creative director. Did a lot of commercials for ABC and feature films.
Mm-hmm. So did you, for the young, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, so it's been about a 20-year run now.
20-year run.
Since I started in film. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for the young aspiring filmmaker, what did you do first when you first picked up the camera? Because you do more camera work than you do editing. Is that what I follow from reading your bio? You do more camera work and cinematography than you do editing. Is that true?
Yeah. So when I got into film at first, I got into being an actor, and so I studied acting classes. I did Shakespeare for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Shakespeare. Tried to learn as much as I can on the acting side. I didn't want to be a struggling actor in Hollywood, so I figured I should at least try to get a job doing something in production. And that's when I started interning with other filmmakers and anything that I can get my hands on, whether it's a commercial, music video, things like that, and working with other directors. And I started learning how to, started like most people do as a grip and working my way up. I learned a lot about lighting. I read every book I could find, and back then it was Borders, but in Barnes and Nobles and stuff like that. Learned everything that I could that I had access to, and most of it on set people, and bought my first camera and started shooting things and learned how to use my camera inside and out. And I was taught from the DPs that I worked with at that time to really learn how to use things manually. Like, it's way different than now where you can go buy a DSLR at Best Buy and shoot something that looks pretty cool. From back then, you actually had to learn how to pull focus and things like that on your own cameras. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I started to do, and then I naturally just started shooting music videos for local artists, Bay Area artists, and it got bigger into major artists over the years, and then that transitioned into, where I'm at now.
Okay, and do you find that, being that you didn't necessarily go to school for it, do you find that people try to say that you might not know because you were taught by directors of photography? Do you find that people try to say, well, you might not know this, or they try to look down on you, or is it something that once you're in the industry and you've shown what you can do, you're basically in?
No, I mean, I did some intensive work, like programs like the LA Film School and things like that, and I did local film classes at community colleges in Sacramento. But I mean, and even now I have a program that's coming up in Sacramento that's teaching high school kids how to make their own films as well. that I'm working with the mayor's office in the city of Sacramento. But, you know, I never got that backlash as far as like, oh, you didn't go to film school, because I think it really comes down to your work. If people see your work and they like your work, I think that's what matters the most. And in order for you to create good work, you have to be able to know what you're doing in film.
Absolutely. So you went into short films before you went into feature films, and you have a couple of different ones that I jotted down. Weapons Down, from what I saw of it, it's kind of like a behind the scenes music video, actually creating a song with the artist.
Yeah, so Weapons Down was one music video that, and documentary short film that I worked on with an artist named Carla Fleming. I had been shooting her, she's an R&B artist. I had been shooting a lot of her music videos over the years. Mm-hmm. And she had this idea for this song called Weapons Down. We were having, at that time, and we still have the problem, but at that time there was a big problem with gun violence in Sacramento, in our area, and she had invited artists from all different genres and stuff to come together to the studio. We had really enough, we didn't expect like a certain outcome with that. We just kind of winged it at the end and said, hey, let's invite these artists, and they were going to create a song, and we were going to make a music video out of it afterwards. And they hadn't even written the songs or anything yet, so the artists came in and we were just going to document it and then create a music video at the end of it. And it turned out to be a pretty cool documentary that like locally was shown numerous times in theaters around here. It won a Sacramento Film Festival, and it was shown at like Crocker Art Museum and things like that numerous times as well. So it was one of those unexpected things that we just kind of did on the fly and said, hey, let's go shoot something really cool and bring people together, and it turned out really well.
Mm-hmm. And now, what is the root of all evil about?
So the root of all evil was an idea that I had for a few years, and it was really, based around money, how we say money is the root of all evil. And so I had this thought, I was actually on a flight back from Los Angeles, and I had this thought about creating a movie that was based upon what if you could like listen to a dollar bill and what a dollar bill went through. Like whether, the dollar bill that you have in your pocket last night could have been used by somebody who was snorting cocaine, or could have been used to buy drugs, or could have been used for whatever, so I wanted to create this short film that was kind of following this dollar bill, but being narrated by the dollar bill itself throughout the film. And it was an idea that I had for a few years, kind of push it off, and then so one day I said, I'm just going to shoot it. And so I literally wrote it up and cast it for it, and got a few people together. We went to San Francisco, and we shot a short film on it, and that one ended up winning some awards as well, film festivals.
Mm-hmm. And our topic for tonight has to do with shooting film on a shoestring or no string budget. What can you tell aspiring young filmmakers about shooting on a shoestring or no string budget? What is the organization that they need to have to be able to pull off a quality film?
I would say, get together with other filmmakers in your community, work together, come up with something that's, creative. Even if I would just say shoot as much as you can too. Like, I get a lot of young filmmakers who tell me they've got these scripts and ideas that they want to do, and then I see them like a month later, 2 months later, and they say, I'm still dialing in the script, and I'm still like, don't wait for the perfect script. Just start shooting ideas. I mean, your ideas and your scripts are gonna keep coming, but just, you gotta execute at some point. You gotta jump, you gotta execute, and the more that you actually execute, the more films that you do, the better you're gonna get at it. I mean, I could tell you the first film that I shot, full feature film that I shot, was an independent film with virtually no budget, and that was like probably 17 years ago, 16, 17 years ago. We didn't even have DSLR cameras to shoot on at that time. We created our own looks and figured out how to get a film look out of a video camera by actually shooting through we took apart a photography camera and shot through the photography camera onto the lens. And we were just trying to be creative. And I wouldn't even watch that film now. It's probably horrible, but but we completed a feature film. We screened it. A lot of people came out and they loved it back then. But we were young filmmakers, and we were pushing the envelope on doing stuff that was different than what other people were doing. And the fact that we could actually create something that looked more like film versus just video back then was different. So I would say just create, shoot as much as you can, learn as much as you can, and just be creative. And the more content that you put out, the more you're going to learn.
Mm-hmm. And so you basically say shoot as much footage as you possibly can, and then put it on the editing bay with your editor and put together, even if it's an abstract film or what is it, French New Wave, put something together. Go ahead.
Yeah, and learn the process too. I mean, like with me, I've done every process. I still edit sometimes. It's not my favorite thing to do, and I have editors that work with me now. But there's projects that have to get out quickly, and sometimes I'll do commercial shoots or stuff like that where I don't have somebody available at that time, and it has to be knocked out quickly, so I'll edit it myself. But I would learn every process if you really want to be a filmmaker, even if it's just to understand what that person has to go through that is on your team. Write some stuff, even if you're not the greatest writer. Write something out. Learn how to write correctly a screenplay, formatting wise. Learn programs, so that way when you're talking to other screenwriters, you know what you're talking about. Learn your cameras, learn your lenses, learn your lighting, and edit as well. I mean, even if you're not the greatest at editing, at least try it out and edit some projects so you know what you're talking about. If you're going to be a director or a cinematographer, it'll only help you out when it comes to communication with your team.
Invaluable information for the young filmmaker from someone who is actually making it happen in Hollywood right now. Okay, so now we got through all that, the subtext. Now let's get to the main part of the interview, which is a clear shot, which is based on the true Goodfellas hostage crisis in Sacramento, California that happened in 1991. Good Guys, what did I say? Goodfellas? Like the movie. Good Guys hostage crisis in Sacramento, California that happened in 1991. 41 hostages, largest hostage crisis in U.S. history. 4 Vietnamese hostage takers. So you have a question about that, about hostage takers.
Yeah, okay, so I was talking to D and I asked him, I wonder what made these guys decide to rob this establishment during the day, instead of like when the store was closed or near the end. So why do you think they decided to do this during the middle of the day, especially a very extremely popular store like this?
Well, these kids had, I did a lot of background on the actual true story. When I did this screenplay, I spoke with some of the real hostages. I spoke with the sheriff's department, the sheriff that actually went out there and negotiated, tried to negotiate the whole deal. I spoke with a couple of the news anchors that were on scene at that time. And, from what I got, these kids, these are kids, 17, 19 years old, 18 years old, and 21. So it's like they were still young kids, and they weren't obviously mature enough to really think it out. But they felt like because of their broken English and not being able to get a job and getting a fair break in the U.S., they did something that was just spontaneous and didn't really think it through. And felt like, hey, you know, we're getting treated like this, so let's go in here, let's get some guns and go in here and let's take this place hostage, and demanded, you know, money, $1 million. They had crazy demands, like they wanted ginseng, tea, they wanted a helicopter, flying to Thailand, and, you know, things like that. So obviously they weren't, you know, thinking it out well.
Yeah.
As most teenagers don't, right?
Right. So they took to taking up guns. It was a bank right next door, by what I researched. But yet they go into this store. Did they think that by taking this store hostage, that somehow their demands of the $4 million, I read $4 million, and a helicopter to fly them to another land, another country, would be met? Or they just were not thinking, like you said, they were just teenagers.
Yeah, they weren't thinking.
Yeah, they weren't thinking. I mean, when they first went in and made demand, it was $1 million. And after, you know, hours of standoff, they said, oh, we want $4 million. And they wanted bulletproof vests. And they were making so many different demands. And I think as time went on and they started to realize, like, hey, we're not going to get out of this thing and just go home. And they started to realize that the money wasn't coming. I think that's when things started to get a little bit more crazy, without giving away the actual film. But,
yeah. I'm not trying to get you to give away the film, but we're making sure that people go out and see this film, because from the trailer, it is dynamite.
Yeah, it is.
So in a clear shot, the store goes from Good Guys to Leisure Guys electronics store. Four young Vietnamese gunmen. Rick Gomez, portrayed by Mario Van Peebles, is the hostage negotiator. He's trying to keep the 4 gunmen calm while juggling the politics of arrogant sheriff and a trigger-happy SWAT sergeant. Right? So, how did you meet Mario Van Peebles, his son, Mandela Van Peebles, and how did you get them to take interest in the film to be 2 of your marquee stars, including Glenn Plummer?
Okay, so Mario and Mandela I met through one of the producers on the film, who I had been working with for a little over a decade already. We worked on numerous other projects together, and he had been working with Mario for a while. So Mario and I had met a couple years prior to the film. We talked about working on another film together, and when this film came up, just kind of stayed in touch over the years. And when this film came up, I said, you know, this would probably be right up Mario's alley. So threw it at Mario and worked with his schedule to get him on board. And with his son, you know, I thought it'd be kind of cool to have like a film that, you know, his son was in Jigsaw and Roots and a few other productions as well, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to like have that dynamic of like the family, 2 talented people in the same family on this production. And so that was a no-brainer when it came to bringing in Mandela on the film. And then Glenn Plummer and I actually met through another mutual friend of ours that was in the music industry years ago, and we kind of went back and forth on some projects over the years and stayed in touch. And so when this project came up, I said, you know, Glenn was somebody else that I needed to call immediately on the project as well. And Glenn is amazing. We finished the second film even after Clear Shot together, called One and the Same, and he's probably going to be in my 3rd film coming up here next month as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Glenn Plummer is a heavyweight. You know, Mario Van Peebles, the whole Van Peebles collective, the clan is heavyweight, but Glenn Plummer is a heavyweight telling the story of South Central. What is that like directing an actor that is also a director himself? What is that like? Someone that has been seasoned in the game, all of them, matter of fact. What is that like?
Working with Glenn, if you're asking about Glenn or you're asking about Mario?
Well, if both. If you can, for people who may never get a chance to work with these two men or see you working, people want to know what that feels like to work with people who are seasoned professionals, getting it, making it happen in Hollywood.
Both of them are amazing as far as actors and directors, I would say. Mario at the time when we were shooting was still working on some stuff, Empire, and directing some other projects and stuff like that. So his time with us, I think he was on set with us for 9 days. And we shot for like 7 days total. So when Mario shows up on set, he's a professional, and he shows up ready. He has his own backstory on what he thinks his character should be like, and he would add his own little seasoning to the actor, to the character itself. And he came in with ideas, and he'll shoot ideas with me before when crew is setting up. We'll be in the dressing room and talking about different ideas and things like that, and things he thinks he might add to his character and the way that he looked. And so it was honestly Mario's idea to make his character as a police officer kind of a grungy, like has a alcohol problem, has been drinking, has been going through some rough times in his life. And when he brought that up to me, I said, I love it. Let's put that together. And so when you see the actual film, you'll see why he's dressed that way and the type of car he drives around, things like that. And so he pays attention to a lot of what he can bring to the screen that's gonna, stand out and make it something great. Glenn Plummer is just an amazing friend, amazing director as well. And he will actually give you like his input on things if you want it. But when the camera turns on, he's in character. He knows his stuff. He's an OG. He's been around for a long time. OG Bobby Johnson. So he's a professional in what he does. So and Glenn, I love him to death. He's a good friend, and we've worked on a few projects together now, and we're continually working on more projects together. And he's just somebody who will actually spend a lot of time with you and your actors, and even help out a lot of the other actors. Like he'll get together with the rest of the cast if they're not shooting while we're filming Mario or somebody else, and really pull them all aside and go through their lines with them and show them different ways to deliver the lines and stuff that to help them out. So great guy.
Mm-hmm. So how important as a director? Go ahead. Okay.
So I was just saying, I'm truly blessed to be able to work with these professionals like that.
Yeah. So how important is it for an actor, as you as a director, how important is it for the actor to come to you with a backstory for the character?
I mean, most professional actors will come with a backstory, or they'll ask you what the backstory is on a character what I envision in my mind the character to be. And then they'll come up with their own ideas. Other actors will, play the roles that they play and really try to go live those roles for a while. Like Jess Menza, who played opposite of Mario as a police officer, she went on ride-alongs, and she went out with the LAPD for 2 days and, tried to study like the way that they walk, the way that they talk, all the different things to really get that role down. So I think as a professional actor, that's where you separate the professionals from people who just say they want to act.
Mm-hmm. So what is the ultimate message you're putting across in a clear shot?
The message that we're showing in a clear shot is this is something that happened in 1991, and this is a problem that we're still having till this day in the U.S., especially with the president that we have now. We're inducing like more hate and trying to separate ethnicities and making a racist actor and things. And I think that this story is very relatable right now to what's going on. And even though this was back in 1991, 2019, even going into 2020, we're still dealing with the same type of problems. So, hopefully people will walk away from this film and get something out of it that they can do better.
So within the subtext of the context of the story, is the dialogue somewhat alluding to what's happening in the presidency of 45 right now, taking it back to 91, but somehow referencing what's happening in 2019 within the dialogue?
Yeah, so, we didn't make it a timepiece. Like I said, it was inspired by the good guys' hostage situation. It wasn't meant to be a biopic, so we didn't go back and make all the police cars from 1991 and the whole electronics store 1991. We tried to make it a little more current. We did make the look of the store pretty much the same and the story pretty close, but obviously it's a movie and we had to throw some Hollywood on top of it as well. Mm-hmm. But we just wanted to make a great film out of it and tell a message, spread a message behind it. And I think the actress did a great job with that.
So what is the feel of the movie like? Is it because it's a multicultural cast and the subject matter isn't the same, but does it feel like Crash?
I don't think it would feel like Crash. Mm-hmm. I think there's an intensity, like the feel that I wanted from this film was there's a build-up over 8 hours, so it's more of like a taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 type of feel, where you think something's gonna end and then it doesn't end, and then something else happens and it builds up a little bit more, and then something has to be done at some point because you can't just let 41 people in a store die. And so you've got police officers, and you've got the sheriff is just kind of the guy who says, let's just go in and take everybody by storm, which is not the best way to do it, and then you've got Mario's character who's a negotiator who comes in and is trying to be, human about the situation and save lives, including the gunmen, and talk them down because he realizes that these are really kids, teenagers. And so he's trying to find that balance between keeping everybody alive and stopping a sheriff from just coming in and potentially, putting 41 people at risk from getting killed by these gunmen.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. She has a question.
Your film has a 4-city premiere tour, with the third leg being in LA at the TCL Chinese Theater. Where else will it be showing? And when will it have its national and international release?
So the last location that we're going to show it is actually going to be in Mexico at Baja. And there was a lot of actors that came from Tijuana and Baja, and our crew was in Baja, obviously. So we wanted to do the last one there. And as far as national and international, can't say yet. I know we've been talking to distributors and stuff about releasing somewhere in late November, December-ish. So, but I don't have the specifics on what cities and things like that. That's going to be yet.
Okay.
We've been so focused on trying to get this premiere done, and then I guess after next Saturday we'll figure out at that point where else it's going to go.
So this is a multi-layered question here. So you're not trying to preach to the people, but at the same time you're putting across a message. What is the ultimate outcome that you would like to see this film put across to society? Because we here at the Film Review are about movies, music, culture, politics, and society, how movies and music move the culture and affect politics and society. So what would be the ultimate outcome of the film? What would you like to see this film start? What type of discussion, or if it changes something, what would you like it to change?
For me, I think we always say, history repeats itself, and I think when you watch this film, you'll be able to see that, like, obviously history has repeated itself numerous times that this tragedy has happened, and continues to happen in the U.S. So, we always have these debates with NRA and things like that with gun control and what we should have, what we shouldn't have, and how much we should have access to, and what kind of guns and all these types of things. And so I think that, just come out and watch the film, check it out, and really just not really give a whole lot of energy to the hate that's going on in the country right now. We've got everything from not just people now, but as you know, we have people like our own president who's going out and telling people to punch people in the face and things like that. So we've got to do something to change it before it becomes a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. So that's the whole
get out and vote at the night.
Oh, get out and vote as much as possible.
Yeah.
Vote often. No.
I think
what does the
there are people at the last one decided there's no way that we can make it, but obviously the lack of voters, now we're stuck with what we got, right?
Right. So what does the next 5 to 10 years look like for Nick Leisure? What's your 5 to 10 year goal?
Oscar.
Okay. Okay.
Now for me, it's every project that we do, the next project we're trying to continue to grow, make it bigger than the last project, and that's not taking away from the actors that are on the project. I'd love to have Mario on another project, Ryan on another project. All the actors I've worked with were amazing. But, continue to grow myself as a filmmaker, hopefully make bigger and bigger projects that can make an impact. And, we're telling a story, so we want people to relate to the story, love the story, and hopefully be able to take 90 minutes of your life and make it memorable by watching what we put on the screen.
Mm-hmm. That's dynamite. This has been good. I mean, it's educational for the film. We want to thank you. But in closing, I have one last question for you. What are your top 5 filmmakers? Who are your top 5 filmmakers? People who inspired you.
Me.
Oh, okay. Me, okay.
No, I'm not that confident. Definitely, I'm joking. Scorsese definitely is one of the top filmmakers that I watch. Robert De Niro, I would say, is an amazing filmmaker and an actor. Obviously, I like certain directors for certain things too. You have your M. Night Shyamalan who do that genre and that type of films in his way very, very well. I probably wouldn't attempt to do a film like him. We have our own type of things, just like we have in music. Our producers do R&B and hip hop and country and things like that. So, as far as like 2 more filmmakers, I really try to root for like more underdog people nowadays. The Ryan Cooglers and people that are, really coming up from like nothing, like where I came from. I mean, I had nothing. I didn't have a rich family and parents that said, hey, we're gonna throw you through film school and buy you the best camera and all that stuff. I had to really, come from some rough streets and figure out a way out of that. And picking up a camera was essentially my way to express myself without, and stop myself from getting into more trouble on the streets. So, anybody that can focus on that, filmmaker-wise.
So there we have it. That's what we have. So your next film coming up, Can We Make News? Can you tell us a little bit about what Bad Currency is going to be about?
So Bad Currency is also inspired by a story that we were going to do. I was directing as a documentary many years ago, and it was about a guy in Northern California, in Stockton, California, that had a print shop and printed counterfeit money.
Okay.
And he had this system where he would take the counterfeit money and he would go to Mexico and he would buy gold bars and bring them back and sell the gold bars for, he'd get them for pennies on the dollar and he'd sell them for market price in the U.S. And so I built off of that idea with my screenwriter that I work with currently right now on these projects, and also wrote a clear shot with me, Tom Chilcote. So I brought Tom down to Mexico after we finished the clear shot, and we ran around to these locations, and there was a location down in Tijuana that used to be a theme park. So imagine like a Disneyland or something like that that's been deserted for 15 to 20 years. And we happened to meet the owner of the theme park, and they have a house that's still on the theme park. All the rides and games and things like that are still in place. But it looks like something out of like I Am Legends, and there's things growing all over it now, and you got Ferris wheels and roller coasters and things like that. And so we kind of threw that into the mix and said, hey, this is a location that nobody's ever shot a movie at. And we decided to put this story together.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. A man who counterfeits money, takes it over the border, exchanges it for gold bars, comes back, sells the gold bars, and becomes a billionaire? Or close to it?
Kind of, but not really. He ends up getting into the game of like conning other Americans to put up money just like him himself, and he's like that he'll go and get $1 million, and then he'll tell other people to go get $1 million, and they come together and say, hey, we're going to go over and buy gold and bring it back and make a killing off of it. So, but that twist kind of flips when he gets into Mexico, and the set of rallies and the police get involved, and greedy people get involved, and it changes things up, and he doesn't make it back to the U.S. as safe as he thinks he's going to.
Oh, okay. So there's a
whole nother
twist, a twist in the film. All right, that's not.
Yes.
We look forward to seeing that, Bad Currency, and A Clear Shot. We like to thank you for calling in and allowing us to interview you. And where can they contact you, or where can they see your films? How can they stay in contact with you on social media?
LeisureFilms.com is there. I know most of us probably don't use websites much anymore, but social media wise, I'm at Nick Leisure. NICKLEISURE on all social media platforms. So yeah, IG, Facebook, wherever you get on, contact me.
All right. So again, we would like to thank Nick Leisure for calling in so we could interview you today, and we look forward to seeing all of your films. And thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
For calling into the Film Review,
Thank you.
Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, and Society, and we hope to speak to you again on your next film.
Oh, definitely.
All right. Have a good evening.
Support.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, people. So for those who chimed in a little late, you missed the interview, but you can always replay it again.
Yes.
That was Nick Leisure. He has a film with Hollywood heavyweights. Mario Van Peebles, Glenn Plummer, a multicultural cast, and bringing forth the next generation of the Van Peebles with Mandela Van Peebles, right? So the story, we told you what the story is, a clear shot about 4 Vietnamese young men or gunmen who walk into a store, an electronics store, and take 41 hostages and have demands concerning money and a helicopter and traveling to another country. And that's what the story kicks off. And Mario Van Peebles is the hostage negotiator, Gomez, who has to try to diffuse the situation, and it plays out, and we look forward to it. If you haven't seen the trailer, go on YouTube, search A Clear Shot, watch the trailer, and then get ready to watch the film when it comes out, when it's distributed out. So, and for those who don't know, or for those who are in Hollywood, California, at TCL Chinese Theater on October 5th, this Saturday. You can be there for the premiere. It's red carpet. It's all of the stars, all of the actors there. Nick Leisure there, right there, where you can talk to him and watch the film. You know, get your tickets. You know, and so that's about it for that, right? So we like to thank again Nick Leisure for calling in and giving the next generation helpful information about filmmaking, right? I mean, it's incredible. The information that he gave, invaluable. You should write it. You should watch this, rewind back, take notes, because what he laid out, you know, that's what we like to do around here at the Film Review. Make sure that we talk to people who are actually making it happen. It's one thing to have a theory, but the only way that you can really have a hypothesis, an educated guess about something, is you have to actually be in practical application and have tried it and done it and actually executed to say that possibly this is what will happen next if I do that, right? All right, people, so before we get to the next topic, which is Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's Son-in-Law, part of our films that you should be watching for Halloween, right? We want to say that the remaster of some of my music is up, right? Smoke With Me, right? It's a remaster. Matter of fact, it's getting hits on SoundCloud. Go over there and listen to it. You can also purchase it on iTunes, stream it on Tidal, Google Play, all that. I'm always looking to place my songs in films. You know what I mean? Because that's what the next thing we're going to talk about is about placing independent hip hop artists into independent film and Hollywood movies. And so go there and listen to that. Matter of fact, you can pause it and scan the code, and it'll take you right there to the song, and you'll be able to listen to it on many different formats on the net, right? Okay. So,
hello to.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Say the names of the people who have chimed in.
I see Pamela Johnson chimed in. D-Wax, DJ Remix.
DJ Remix, yeah.
Donald Rendell, Shanine, Don't Start Hicks.
Yeah.
Hello to you guys.
Let's see who else we have here. We have Chef William, Scott, Leah,
Hey.
and Donald Randell chimed in. So we want to say what's up to them now. Let's go here. We go here, bring this down, bring this up. This is where we're going next, people. Now, last Sunday, we gave the list on the top 10
Horror films.
top 10 Blaxploitation horror films,
Yes.
right? The top 10 Blaxploitation horror films.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring my list
Oh,
up.
from
If
last
I can find it. There it is. There's the list. So our top 10 read like this. Number 10, Us, because Blaxploitation is not just a genre that happened in the 70s. It's a certain feel to the films, and these films, though not necessarily in the 70s, though some are in the 70s, and though not necessarily all in the 70s, they have that feel of Blaxploitation. And Blaxploitation is not a bad word to express great black cinema. Okay, so Us. Excuse me. Us was honorable mention. Number 10 was Bones by Snoop Dogg, came out 2001. Number 9, Tales from the Hood, came out in 1995. Number 8, Now Eat, produced and created by Brother Lynch Hung, 2000. Number 7, Blackenstein, 1973. Number 6, JD's Revenge, 1976. Number 5, Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law. Number 4, Death by Temptation, 1990. Vampire in Brooklyn, 1995. Number 2, Blackula, 1972. And Scream, Blackula Scream, the sequel, 1973. Make sure you check these out. But number 5 on the list is what we are speaking on today. Number 5 on the list is a great, not only a great horror film, but it is a great Blaxploitation film that has comedy. And what we're talking about is number 5 on our list is Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law. Right?
Classic.
That's right. What is so incredible about, because our topic is about creating film on a shoestring or no string budget, and Nick Leisure gave some tips on how to shoot a film in with no budget or shoestring budget.
Right.
This man right here, Rudy Ray Moore, 1977, Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law. Many of the techniques that he created in film on a shoestring budget still exist today in film, right? The man is an example of a person who is and was determined to tell a story, to put himself on the screen, to gain a wider audience and propel his friends along with him, his business associates and his friends along with him into stardom and success. And this is what this man did on a shoestring budget. If you watch any of his films, if you watch the original Dolomite, or you watch The Human Tornado, or you watch this film or the Disco Godfather, you will hear tremendously great soundtrack. The sound quality on the film is incredible, right? This is one thing that they teach you on film school, is that The sound quality is really what matters. You can have a messed up picture, but you shouldn't if you know what you're doing. But you can have a messed up picture, but your sound has to be on point, because the sound will, if the sound is not right, people will get up and walk out the theater, right? You can even have off-sync lips, like in Kung Fu class.
Right.
You can have off-sync lips, as long as the audio is balanced and it rolls all the way through. That is the most important thing about film, is the audio. Now, you know, of course, we talk about audio because our audio pounds, and we talk about the film quality because our film quality is clear, even on stream, right? So we talk about that because at Lordland Films, we want people seeing, heard, recognized, and appreciated, like Lordland Theater, every Saturday morning on Facebook, on LordlandFilms.com on Facebook, and also on LordlandFilms.com is a brand new episode of Lordland Theater, where actors from Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Cleveland, and Atlanta act opposite yours truly, Crazy D, showing their acting prowess in stories that get them seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated by film directors, producers, casting directors, all of that. They are seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated in finished, completed film. Individual stories that tell a story, a continuous story, where they act opposite yours truly, Crazy D. So that's it, Lordland Theater. Now, so I say all that to say that there are two influences. There's many more, but there are two main influencers in my life, right? One is Oscar Devereaux Michaud, and the other is Rudy Ray Moore. There are influencers, and they inspire me because through thick or thin, through hardship, through success or failure, they push through to create independent film that stands the test of time. Oscar Michaud, before talkies came in and after talkies came in, right? And Rudy Ray Moore had the fortitude to say, I'm going to do this and no one's going to stop me. And you know who told me that?
Who?
At the Fringe Fest, Hollywood, when he sat there and he reviewed our film, right? The curator of
Hollywood
Fringe Fest film, Hollywood, said that there's not that much in Hollywood like that where people say, take this, I'm going to make this and no one's going to stop me, and I'm going to make this film. And that comes from a through line of people who inspired me, like Rudy Ray Moore and Oscar Michaud, that I am going to do what is necessary to produce a quality product that people will be proud of and say, thank you for putting me on this product. And that's what it is, because people want to be seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated, and that's what we do. So those two men in particular, and then of course we've got the Spike Lees and you name it, you know what I mean, the people who are directing, who are making it happen, that influence me, right? So, in saying all that, Petey Wheatstraw, the devil's son-in-law, let's talk about it. It opens in fire. Petey Wheatstraw tells his own story in spoken word. Petey Wheatstraw, Rudy Ray Moore portrays Petey Wheatstraw in this story. It transitions to his birth in Florida during a hurricane. His mother calls the fully grown child of 7 to 10 years old to heel and says, calm down, boy. Your name is gonna be Petey Wheatstraw, and you're gonna be the baddest, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
With a bargain with the devil. There's a bargain with the devil. Ghetto Miracles. Sequences showing the life of Petey as a young man before he's trained by Bandu, a sensei, a black sensei that teaches him Kung Fu. So Rudy Ray Moore had his hand on the pulse of what was happening in the 70s. Kung Fu is always in his films from a black point of view, from an ADOS point of view, right? The soundtracks, like I said before, from Dolomite to Human Tornado to this one to Disco Godfather, classic. The sound qualities on the film, incredible. He wants to be, the character of Petey Wheatstraw wants to be a comedian. He didn't want to be like his sensei, and his sensei gave him blessing. That being a comic was his chosen profession in life. So the plot of the film. So first you go through and there's a sequence of showing you who Petey Wheatstraw was as first being born, and then as a young boy in the hood, then being trained up to be someone who could take care of himself, which leads all into the plot of what he does later in the film, right? And so the plot revolves around a club owner and his sidekick, Leroy and Skillet, right? They get a loan of $10,000 at 20% interest from a mafioso type guy. Petey Wheatstraw comes to town innocently from doing gigs probably in the Midwest, probably in Cleveland, and he makes his way out to California to innocently to book some shows, and he instantly becomes competition to Leroy and Skillet, who are under the gun because the guy told him, the mafioso guy said, well, if you're not able to get me my money back and the 20%, there's going to be a problem, right? So the club owner gets desperate and he murders Petey Wheatstraw at a funeral. And that's where it begins. That's where the bargain with the devil. That's where the bargain with the devil begins, and Petey Wheatstraw returns to life, and the horror film begins. That's right. So this film is just it's well written. It has a lot of stereotypes that black stereotypes within it, but what makes it different from a film where it's just all Caucasian producers making a film where there's a Caucasian lead and the jokes are in there and it's at the expense of the black community. This film, you're in on the joke, right? And so that's what makes Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's Son-in-Law by Rudy Ray Moore, an incredible piece. The way it's put together. By the time he gets from off the Human Tornado and Dolomite, by the time he gets to this film in 1977, it is smooth rolling. The production is there, everything is there, and the storyline is solid. All of his storylines were solid. Yeah. But his storylines were solid, and he did this. Speaking of Dolomite, I once had a person tell me that a white person had wrote that script for Dolomite, and come to find out, it was a black man who wrote that script. Right. And we're going to talk about that more as we get a chance to interview some of the people that were important in Dolomite's life to make sure that these things that he envisioned in his mind will come to full fruition, right? And so as we get more into those interviews, we will talk about that more. But this film is one that you need to add. Like we said last week, Jason is okay. Michael Myers is okay. Frankenstein, Dracula, you can transfer and move Dracula out the way and put Blackula. You see what I'm saying? So put these into your viewing repertoire and learn what was happening before you. Because when you watch an Oscar Micheaux film, just to go back to reference Oscar Micheaux, he shows you that by watching even the silent and reading the notes, right? I mean the dialogue that was in print because it was silent. The dialogue on the screen shows you that what we as black people go through is still happening today, which helps you understand that, you know, we have to start thinking in a long through line and not in a hamster wheel where each generation forgets what happened in the past, right? You have to start thinking in a long through line and realize that what is happening then is still happening now. So maybe you should get off the hamster wheel. We talked about that last week. And so when you watch an Oscar Micheaux film, you see Booker T. Washington on the wall. This is actually during a time when Booker T. Washington was alive. And you're able to see the same things that they talk about now. They talk about the preachers. And they talk about other people who are not good for the black community, who are black, who are in the community. And they talk about all this. So it is no mystery because it is already there. And it is the same thing with any of the Blaxploitation or any of the Blaxploitation horror. There are storylines that are important to ADOS and black people globally, actually, that are in these films. And Rudy Ray Moore is no different in any case. That the information that they have in there lets you know that there's nothing new under the sun. And so let's figure out to do something else, like getting off the hamster wheel, right? But so put these in there and listen to the messages that are in there. Because in good film, there's always an underlining subtext in the film, within the context of the film, which pushes it forward. And within Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law, to me it is about fair play wins out. And also, if you make a pact with the devil, you got to pay. You got to pay. Anyway, so Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law, incredible. It will have you laughing. It is great acting in it. And it is during a time when even the black woman was in the joke or in with the movement, and there's no shame. Now, I got to give Petey Wheatstraw a 10 because it's just great filmmaking.
It's classic.
It's entertaining from the opening until the end. Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law, and you know that Rudy Ray Moore had to be great because Eddie Murphy is playing him in Dolomite Is My Name. Also coming out in October. Right? And I think that they go on beyond just Dolomite, if I got it true from Donald Randell, that they go beyond that and they go into the other films. Because Donald Randell actually, in Petey Wheatstraw, there is a cemetery scene, and he and another gentleman who was in the film actually dug the graves in the thing. So these are people who were alive, and we get to talk to these people because I got to meet Rudy Ray Moore. That's a blessing to me. I got to meet him. He came to my store. I've told that story before. You can go back and reference some of the previous film reviews, and you will see that story that I told about him when we had Donald Randell on the show from Dolomite Records. So look, put this into your repertoire. And then next week, we're going to talk about a few Blaxploitation horror film, something that we didn't talk about. And we're going to talk about this new one we just discovered.
Yeah.
The strange thing about this certain family is incredible. It's up to date. It came out in 18, and it's
entertaining.
It's entertaining, and it will have you. So we're going to talk about all that next week. So look, The Devil's Son-in-Law, you have to see it. All right. So now, let me put this up here. Let me just put something up. Put this back up because this was a unexpected treat. There's a couple of things that we need to talk about. Okay, first of all, let me tell you this. You know, we have a written blog on LordlandFilms.com. A written blog on LordlandFilms.com. That is the actual website, right? You can also reference what I'm talking about on LordlandFilms.com on Facebook, the page. You can click the link and it will take you straight to the review, because we gave a review in written form on the Spence Porter fight. Right?
Oh yeah, that was a great fight.
If you did not see that fight yesterday,
great fight.
The fight, I will tell you, and this will not take away from the review of it, I will tell you that it goes down, it goes up as one of the greatest fights of all time. Any of the fights that you've seen in the lore of the past, this may have superseded even the Sugar Ray Leonards and all that, because these two men got in there and stood toe to toe and exchanged leather, and there was no retreat, and the fight is there. And so go read the review, because there's a couple of questions that I asked, and if you were privy to the post fight and the comment about Cleveland that happened, and the upward, just go read it. LordlandFilms.com. Leave your reviews, share it, all that, because that was the fight. That's the fight of the year, and it's gonna go up as one of the greatest fights of all time. Right? So don't forget that this part of the show was brought to you by right here, Lunel. I only drink at work. That's right. Lunel, I only drink at work. Pick this up on HeyLunel.com.
Yes.
HeyLunel.com, and make sure that you check out the interview that yours truly, Crazy D, conducted with Lunel. That is on the YouTube channel. TV shows, what's it called? TV shows and films created by yours truly, Crazy D. Take the yours truly out and just say by Crazy D, created by Crazy D, right? TV shows and films created by Crazy D channel. You just search film TV created by Crazy D, or just put in TV shows and films, Lordland Films, and it will take you right there on YouTube, and you can watch the interview. You know, it is a structured interview. We don't just talk fluff here at the Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, and society, because we are here to make sure that we pass something on that you can learn from, because the world is full of knowledge and people who actually do it. And why fumble around with people who are just trying when you can just learn what they're talking about, right? You can learn what they're talking about, because that's what it is. So look, so again, this was brought to you by Lunel. I only drink at work. Okay.
Check Lunel out at the Jimmy Kimmel
Comedy Club through January 2020.
At the link.
Right? At the link. Vegas. That's right. I want to shout out to the link, because they were so accommodating to us when we did the interview, right? We want to shout out to everyone that was involved, because they made it happen. Now,
including like Caesars. They were extremely...
Yes. They did. Caesars, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Extremely accommodating.
Accommodating.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Next week, people, because the first 2 episodes are out, and this is a great film. Godfather of Harlem on Epix, right? It's a John Ridley executive produced piece.
Yeah.
Now, if you know John Ridley,
Yeah.
he is big on ABC.
Yeah.
He had the American Crime,
Right.
right?
Right.
And some people that you see in American Crime, you see in his secondary roles.
Right.
But this is Forrest Whitaker's
Yeah.
greatest
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
And the man who is playing Malcolm X in it. And of course,
Excellent pick.
right? And the person who is playing Adam Clayton Powell. I mean, they are bringing history and they are showing you, unlike films that are produced by Caucasian producers, they are showing you the truth of what happened in Harlem during that time. That it wasn't just sitting down. So we're going to talk about more of that next week once we get to the third episode. Then we're going to come in and give you a review of the first 3 episodes next week, along with multiple reviews on multiple Blaxploitation horror films that should be in your repertoire for Halloween for October 30th, October 31st, right? So we want to say that. And also, to get context on Godfather of Harlem, you should watch a film that happens, that tells the story of Bumpy Johnson before this period in the 60s, when he comes home from doing an 11-year bid in Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Hoodlum, starring Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, directed by Bill Duke.
But directed by Bill Duke, another great actor, director, right?
Yeah.
If you've never seen Hoodlum, you need to put that in your collection of film, right? You know, it's Lawrence Fishburne acting opposite our queen. Our queen, what's her name? Vanessa Williams, that's one queen, but we're talking about the queen.
Cicely Tyson.
Cicely Tyson, that's right. That's right. Acting opposite Cicely Tyson, and it's with a cast. It's a multicultural cast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Italians, Irish, and of course us, ADOS, right? And people who, right. So you have to see this film to give context to what you're going to see in Godfather of Harlem, right, on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So make sure that you see Hoodlum.
Yeah.
We get Hoodlum 10 every time that comes on. We watch it because Bumpy Johnson was putting it down, and there's certain references that we see that John Ridley used from that film that you see. Like you may see the ice cream shop that was back then still there in the 1962. So I mean, it's really
nice
good. Nice
touch.
touches, right? And so,
and John Ridley, he did 12 Years a Slave.
He did 12 Years.
He won an Oscar for the best adapted screenplay for 12 Years a Slave.
There we go. So that's who John Ridley is. Another great black director, producer, writer.
Yeah.
Executive producer, making it happen in Hollywood and in the TV market, right? In the TV networks, right? So now, people, this has been a robust episode of the film review. We would like to thank first Nick Leisure. We would like to thank you for tuning in, and our hearts are heavy tonight because we have lost another community stalwart in Las Vegas. Franklin G. Burley passed from this side of heaven to the other side of heaven. We got the call, we got the text this morning, and the original DJ Holiday sent me condolences, and I want to shout out to him and say thank you, because he wrote it right here on Facebook from way in New York City, nearly 4,000 miles away, and he wrote it and said condolences. So prayers go up for Franklin G.
Family, Shannon and his entire family.
All of the extended family, all of the family, all the friends that he made extended family, because he was, and it's hard to grasp, is still, his energy is still here, and he made people feel like family. And that is what we have to say about that. So next week's show is going to be jam-packed, because we're going to do our tribute episode to Franklin G, just like we had to do our tribute episode for Sharon, Miss Sharon Harrell from TC's Barbecue Crib. And that weekend that everything happened, she left and he got into the car accident, and now he has departed us. And so next week we will have the tribute, because we here at Lord Land Films believe in seeing people be seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated while they're here. And because of that, we have the footage, the content necessary to do great tributes, because that's what we're here. We're here to push the signal to make sure that our people are seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated, and never forgotten. And it's a hard burden. It's a burden to be the one to have the footage and to be able to deliver and continuously deliver. But that's what we do here at LordlandFilms.com, right? So next week, all of that is happening. We're talking about more Blaxploitation horror films. We're talking about Franklin G. Burley. And we're talking about Godfather of Harlem, and how apropos, because Franklin grew up in Harlem, New York, USA. So that's it, people. Don't forget to pick up our periodical. You can pick it up. Make sure you pick it up, because it now becomes a collector's item, because Sharon Harrell believed in what we were doing, and she was our first advertisement partner. There's a difference between an advertisement partner and a sponsor, right? And so she was our first advertisement partner, and this barcode scans, so it is a collector's item now. And make sure you have it, because it is a piece of our story, right? And we are deeply involved in our story. So that's it, people. This has been another robust, great episode of the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We are your hosts. I'm Crazy D.
Tracey.
And I am the voice of the filmmaker, and Tracey is the voice of the critic. And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And we will see you next time on the Film I gotta set up. Sorry, people. Review. This is another great episode of the Film Review.
We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. Stay tuned. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D. And this is the Film Review. Stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about. We are the husband and wife team that review movies, music, culture, politics, and society.
This is the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society.
Sunday at 5:30 on Crazy on Dion page on Facebook. Live stream. The Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society.
This is the Film Review.
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe community. heart, heart, heart,